Another incredible NBA season upon us, the uncertainties, fast-paced, surprising teams, and different players breaking out makes the game super fascinating. All the non-stop debates, comparisons, and superstars all of a sudden getting praised being in the top 5 conversation. What's up guys, my name's Wilson. With the game a lot different 10 years ago, I'll be starting from the 2012-2013 season until the end of the 2022 playoffs, accounts for all the superstars, some of whom at the very tail end of their careers today, guys who would even shock you given how great they once were. Let's take a look at every NBA star in the top 5 discussion over the last 10 years. Let's start off with the best of the best. LeBron James, widely considered the best player in the game up until a few years ago, dominated the league 10 years ago, the season he almost won unanimous MVP since joining Miami, making 8 straight finals, far and away the best player in the East. James in 2022 to this very day, almost 38 years old, still in the top 5 player discussion. While many might disagree, some of his biggest fans would go as far as saying he's top 3, while Giannis today the majority would consider him the very best player in the league given his dominant two-way presence at the prime of his career might only continue getting better. Steph Curry after the 2016 regular season crowned it as the best player until what happened in the finals. Many have him in their top 3 after winning 2022 Finals MVP and been in the top 5 discussion for quite some time, while Kevin Durant will be remembered as number 2 behind LeBron for a couple years, surpassed by Curry in many all-time rankings, only viewed as the best player briefly by some the 2014 regular season during the 2017 finals. In the 2021 playoff performances versus the Bucks, KD's been in the top 5 discussion since 2010. While back-to-back MVP winner Nikola Jokic, the analytic crowds argues he's by far the best player. While many have him number 2 behind Giannis, others don't even have him in the top 5. After 2 straight MVPs are just haters. Joel Embiid and Luka Doncic also in the top 5 discussion. Some believe Doncic at his young age top 3 right now, while Embiid has a case for being as high as 2 behind Giannis. Of course, most Philly fans have him over Jokic. That's already 7 elite superstars today considered in the top 5. LeBron, Giannis, Curry, Durant, Jokic, Embiid, and Doncic. A couple more players I haven't even mentioned, but let's start off from the 2013 season. Of course, before the Achilles tear, the late great Kobe Bryant at 34 years old, still one of the elite players in the game, 3 seasons removed from his last title. April 12, 2013, the last of superstar Kobe, last 10 games before the Achilles tear, averaged around 30 points, over 6 boards, 7 assists, going 7-3 overall, still regarded top 3 at the time behind LeBron and Durant, while Prime Melo won the scoring title after leading New York to 54 wins, the 2nd seed, but had to settle for 2nd team All-NBA due to James and Durant being in it as the forward spot. Anthony alongside Kobe in the discussion as top 5 that season, alongside Chris Paul, 4th for MVP for the Clippers, 56 wins, regular season dominance, but never got it done in the playoffs. Paul also in the top 5 conversation in each of the following 2 seasons, but huge playoff meltdowns. The year 2014, both LeBron and Durant were clear-cut the 2 best players in the game, while Melo failed to make the playoffs. Curry and Harden great, but wasn't quite super duper star level status yet. CP3 had a case that year being as high as 3. While Tim Duncan drew in the 2013 season, his last excellent year, 1st team All-NBA at age 36 and 37, 1st team All-Defense, still the best player on San Antonio, a forgotten masterful 30-point 17 rebound Game 6 of the finals. Even a 24 and 12 Game 7 stat line would have easily won Finals MVP had San Antonio won. Blame Pop for leaving him out late regulation of Game 6. Had Duncan been 6-0 in the finals instead of 5-1, many would put him top 5 all time. Had no help from 3 points and 1 of 5 shooting from deep Danny Green Game 6. Although Duncan would win a title the following year, by that point nobody had Timmy in the top 5, but 2013 Duncan looked way better than 2011 Duncan. While Dwayne Wade also had a top 5 case in 2013, his last true superstar season, 31 and bad knees, didn't have as many great games, but delivered when needed. 32 points Game 4 versus San Antonio, the decisive road win, while Game 7 way more impactful, especially defensively, than given credit for. On to 2014, this one might surprise you, but the super athletic prime Blake Griffin, who was an absolute monster, 3rd for MVP voting behind Durant and LeBron, a season when CP3 missed 20 games, Blake played 80, averages over 24 a game, 4 assists, rounded out his all-around skills, played on the 57-win team at 24 and 25 years old, if anybody was to say back in 2014 and even 2015 that Draymond Green would end up having a better career than Blake Griffin, 95% of NBA fans would laugh at such a statement. Top 5 might be a stretch for many, but prime Griffin literally top 10 before Curry and Harden exploded onto the scene. 2014 Griffin was literally the third most talked about player in the regular season outside of Durant and LeBron. Griffin in the discussion with LaMarcus Aldridge and Kevin Love as the 3 best power forwards at the time after Duncan and Nowitzki got old. Yes, you saw Joakim Noah was 4th place in MVP, but he was never close to being a top 5 player. No need to get started with that. 2014 Blake Griffin would literally be in the same conversation as today's young Jayson Tatum and John Morant. After missing 15 games in 2014, there was no doubt Blake was easily a top 3 player. The 2015 playoffs, despite blowing a 3-1 lead to Houston, the 14 games played, numbers of 26 and 13, 6 assists on 51% shooting, dunked from all angles against San Antonio, dominated them. Acceptable on D. Unfortunately, injuries derailed his career. Could have been a top 5 player for several years given his athleticism and talent. James Harden, obviously second in MVP voting 3 times, winning 1, the king of the regular season, already flirted in the top 5 conversations in 2014. Only Curry and LeBron were clearly better in 2015 as a whole, while his team fell out in 2016 after the hiring of Mike D'Antoni. Harden, a regular season god from 2017 to 2020, unstoppable, unguardable, got 40 in his sleep. Although he was never considered the very best player in the game given his playoff disappointments on the yearly basis, at the height of his powers in 2019, when compared to Giannis for MVP, Harden at his peak was absolutely in the discussion as a top 3 player in the game, while Russell Westbrook was absolutely in the top 5 discussion. Once upon a time, hard to believe this was indeed true, given how disastrous he's been with the Lakers. Brody literally finished 4th for MVP in 2015. The year Durant went down, led the league in scoring. Only Curry, Harden, and LeBron were the ones clearly better. Russ in the next best player conversation right behind them. Even in 2016, finished above teammate KD in the MVP race, 4th place again. Literally, him and Harden the hottest show in all of basketball between January to April of 2017 after breaking the single season triple-double record. Did the impossible, received tons of praise. Some believe he was even top 3 at his peak. The back and forth debates, Russ versus Harden, Russ versus Curry, even Russ versus Durant used to be a thing. But after the postseason disappointments with PG, received tons of backlash for the way he plays and became the most vilified player over the last year with the Lakers, an absolute nightmare as he ages. While Paul George himself belonged in the top 5 conversation, the very star of the 2013-14 regular season, after his red hot Pacers started 18-2 overall, looked like they easily win 60 plus. Numbers of nearly 25.6 rebounds, over 2 steals on 48% shooting. At that point, George was a legit MVP candidate before the whole team collapsed after the All-Star break, balled out versus the Heat that postseason, but fell out in the superstar discussion after the gruesome injury for Team USA. Wasn't quite back to his 2014 self till the 2019 regular season. Although there were clearly more than 5 guys better at the time than PG, finished 3rd place for MVP, even made first team All-NBA over Kevin Durant, but didn't close out the season strongly, dealt with a shoulder injury that slowed him down from getting made fun of to his bubble travesties. Some say he was never a top 5 player in the game, but was clearly top 7 or 8 for a couple years. While Kawhi Leonard finished 2nd in MVP voting in Curry's 2016 campaign, not that it mattered much. The Claw won his 2nd Defensive Player of the Year at just 24 years old. Some believe he should have won 2017 MVP due to being a monster 2-way presence, led his team to 61 wins. After seeing what he was doing to Golden State Game 1 before Zaza's cheap shot, Leonard was considered better than Westbrook and Harden. After seeing more in the playoffs, was even in the conversation as the 2nd best player in the game behind LeBron, got a lot of praises, and some even had him above Durant and Curry, but fell off in 2018 due to injuries, only to reappear and led Toronto to the title in 2019 at the height of his postseason powers. Him and Durant were neck and neck for number 1 until KD's injury. Leonard netted the 3rd most points in a single postseason run. 50% of NBA fans after the Raptors won it all declared Kawhi as the best player in the NBA. Some had Giannis, some had KD, but Leonard didn't back that up in the regular season due to his load management plus the bubble meltdown. Overall, still incredible in most playoff games in the discussion for top 3 player in 2020 with Giannis and LeBron. If it wasn't for Joe Ingles, Clippers might have won the 2021 title given how amazing Kawhi was balling out. Now over a year later, the 31-year-old can prove himself being in the top 5 discussion very quickly again. Anthony Davis became a legit superstar by his 3rd season at 21 and 22 years young. First team All-NBA, led New Orleans to the postseason behind LeBron, Curry, and Harden as the best players, up there with Westbrook and CP3, and arguably surpassed Blake Griffin by 2015. But his team wasn't doing very good the following 2 years until the Brow had a monster 2018 campaign, swept and dominated the 3-seeded Blazers, 3rd in MVP voting behind Harden and LeBron. Only the 2 Jameses, Durant and Curry, were the ones better than Davis all of 2018. Giannis wasn't superstar Giannis yet. Davis even better 2 years later at the height of his basketball powers in the bubble. Some nights consider 1A and 1B next to LeBron. Him and James 2 best players in the postseason title run. ESPN ranked Davis as the 2nd best player behind his teammate after the bubble, which was easily a stretch, but with Curry missing most of that season for Golden State, Durant hurt, Harden losing in the 2nd round again, Giannis and Kawhi underperforming, that was Anthony Davis' time to shine brightest, but fell off and always damaged ever since, not even 30 yet. Even Jayson Tatum briefly in the top 5 discussion after sweeping Durant's Nets and outplaying him in round 1, going toe-to-toe with Giannis, a masterful 46-point elimination game 6 on the road in Milwaukee, literally in the discussion behind Giannis, Jokic, Doncic, even up there with Embiid. Before the finals started, 50% of fans would believe Tatum would outplay Curry in the series. Before things got ugly for the 24-year-old, can put himself back in the top 5 discussion if Boston gets a 1 seed, but heading into 2023, he'll be somewhere between 7 and 10 for many. While guys like Damian Lillard and Jimmy Butler just missed being in the top 5 discussion, Dame likely as high as 7, especially his epic bubble run, but clearly wasn't as good as Giannis, LeBron, Anthony Davis, Harden, or Kawhi. Even 2nd-year Luka already surpassed Dame in 2020. Thank you so much for watching this video. All the different players who were actually considered top 5, somewhat in the top 5 discussion over the last 10 years: LeBron, Durant, Curry, Harden, Kawhi, CP3, Melo, Blake Griffin, Paul George, Anthony Davis, Kobe, Tim Duncan, Dwayne Wade, Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid, Giannis, Nikola Jokic, Jayson Tatum, and Russell Westbrook. Thank you so much for watching this video. Which one of these players shocked you most they would consider top 5 once upon a time? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe for more content. I love all of you. See you next time.